Here's a number that should stop you cold. Nearly 64% of single American men haven't been on a single date in the past year. That's not a small number. That's not a phase. That's a generation quietly walking away from the table and not looking back. But here's what nobody is telling you. These men aren't miserable. They're not sitting in dark rooms crying into their beer. Many of them are genuinely happier. A 2026 study published in Personality and Individual Differences found that people are emotionally better off being single than remaining in bad or even moderate quality relationships. The quality of the relationship is the deciding factor for emotional health, not whether you're coupled up. So what changed? Why are men choosing peace over partnership? Let's break down the 5 reasons men are done with dating in 2026 and why they're actually happier because of it. The first reason is the cost. Not just money, though that's part of it. The average first date now costs over $100. Between inflation and the experience economy, dating has become a genuinely expensive gamble. A 2020 LendingTree study found Americans spent an average of $696 per year on dating. With restaurant prices up over 20% in recent years, that number has only climbed. But the real cost isn't just financial. It's emotional. Hours spent on apps, conversations that go nowhere, mental preparation for dates that end in ghosting. Men are running a cost-benefit analysis and deciding the math doesn't work. The currency isn't just money. It's emotional energy, time, and the willingness to be repeatedly vulnerable with no guarantee of return. When the cycle feels high risk and low reward often enough, opting out starts to feel less like giving up and more like a reasonable financial and emotional decision. The second reason is what experts call the performance paradox. Social media has quietly installed a belief that you must be a finished product before you are allowed to try. Perfectly healed, financially elite, emotionally bulletproof. Ideally with a 6-figure income and an aesthetic apartment visible in the background of your dating profile photos. The problem with this belief is that the finished product never actually arrives. Growth does not happen in isolation before relationships begin. It happens within relationships, through them, because of them. When men wait to feel ready before entering the dating world, they are often waiting for a day that simply does not come. The perfection bar keeps moving, and withdrawal feels safer than risking exposure as a work in progress. So they stop. Not because they're broken, but because they're exhausted from trying to be something they're not. The third reason is what researchers call the social freeze. Many genuinely well-meaning men have become terrified of being misunderstood. They have internalized the fear of overstepping so deeply that they have stopped initiating conversation, stopped making eye contact with someone they find attractive, stopped trusting their own social instincts. This is not simply fear of rejection, which has always existed. This is something more specific. A fear of being fundamentally misread as a person. When a man cannot tell where the line is, the safest strategy can feel like stepping back from the table entirely. The social rules feel too complex to navigate with confidence, so the easiest response is to not play at all. The fourth reason is dating app burnout. Dating apps have turned finding a partner into a high-stakes game of endless scrolling that feels more like a chore than a thrill. 78% of users report feeling exhausted by the experience. Match Group Singles in America report highlighted a steady rise in dating fatigue, especially among men under 40, who describe emotional burnout, financial strain, and trust issues as major deterrents. The algorithmization of romance has birthed a paradox of choice, where satisfaction is impossible because the digital interface constantly promises a better match is just one swipe away. When options are endless, the result tends to be exhaustion rather than satisfaction. Choosing one person starts to look less like missing out and more like the solution. But the problem is, by the time men get to that realization, they're too exhausted to even try. The fifth reason is the most surprising one. Men are finding that they're happier alone. A 2026 study found that singlehood is no longer seen as a waiting room for marriage, but as a high-status destination in its own right. Psychologists are distinguishing between loneliness, distress from lack of contact, and solitude, the glory of being alone. Men are discovering that the peace of a solitary life, a quiet home, full financial control, and time for deep work is a highly addictive drug. They're not hiding from the world. They're building lives they actually enjoy, hobbies they never had time for, friendships they neglected, careers they want to pursue, health they want to prioritize. They're choosing to invest in themselves instead of in someone else. A 2026 APA report found that single men report lower levels of stress than married men. Not slightly lower, significantly lower. Let's look at what this looks like on the ground. A growing number of men are rejecting the roster dating culture entirely. Instead of having multiple dating partners, they are actively choosing to focus entirely on one person from the very first date, or choosing no one at all. Dating coach Luann Ward explains that the apps put men on a rejection treadmill. The more faces a man scrolls through, the more his brain flips into a fault-finding, rejecting mode, and the longer he scrolls, the less able he is to choose anyone at all. Run that for a few years, and a man is not empowered by all that choice. He is depleted by it. This is the quiet revolution happening right now. Men aren't quitting dating because they don't want love. They're quitting because they want peace more. They want freedom. They want control over their own lives. And once they taste that, they don't want to go back. They're building lives that are complete without a partner, and they've realized that dating doesn't add to those lives. It subtracts from them. If you're a man who's done with dating, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're just tired of being the only one trying. If you're a woman wondering why men don't try anymore, now you know. They tried. They tried until they couldn't anymore. They didn't quit because they stopped wanting love. They quit because wanting love started to feel like a liability. And until something changes, they're going to stay right where they are, living their lives, finding their peace, and not dating anymore. This is Mendecoded, where we don't blame men, don't shame women, and don't avoid the truth. We decode it.